Pain and gain.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Cole.
And this is Two Chill Reviews.
And this week we took a look at Pain and Gain.
The latest movie by Michael Bay, who I would say I'm not a fan of Michael Bay's films. Like even like a lot of people suggest Bad Boys to me, and again I just still usually not a fan. But this was a case where this was a script pretty much tailor-made for Michael Bay.
Yeah, I'm also... I haven't seen Bad Boys 2, or whichever one it was he directed. I think the only one of his that I liked was Armageddon. And that is the stupidest movie ever. I will totally admit that's a guilty pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
That movie should be condemned to some low depth of hell.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy it. This one is...
That's the thing, is like, I say it's tailor-made for him, but I don't know if that's really a compliment for him. I mean, this was pretty much oozing with sleaze, but it was kind of the kind of sleaze only Bay can really bring to it.
Yeah, I haven't watched The Wolf of Wall Street yet, but
Wow.
from what I've heard of that and from what I've heard of this, it's two very similar things, but at a completely different angle. Whereas that one is a little bit more high class. This is your Miami-based America.
Well, I mean,
muscle pumping.
I think this is much more akin to Spring Breakers, which was, again, it covered the same theme of the American dream, which is something that repeated all throughout the movie. And just like the whole...
I have never seen a movie that is so pro-American that makes me hate America so much.
Yeah, Spring Breakers will actually do something similar to that. But I don't know, even Spring Breakers had a I don't know, a little more I want to say dignity. I know it's kind of weird for a movie with all these teenage girls getting up to stupid shit, but I don't know. It was the direction that the movie had. It felt much more, I don't know, just a difference in directors, I guess. I don't know. This.
What about
we've got like the.
Let's start with
the lead actors.
It starts with Mark Walberg,
Marky Mark, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson,
who does a very very like.
This is actually very different from his usual roles.
I've heard that this is supposed to be very different for him, and he does it really well.
He does it really well,
and he does it. He pulls it off. He's a doer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have no idea who the third member of that gang was.
Yeah, I can't really say for certain. I guess I don't watch.
They didn't even all of them like all the advertisements and all that made it out to just be Mark Wahlberg and Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
And this third guy, I didn't even know there was a third guy until we started watching the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm like, who's this third guy? That's not. That's not, The Rock.
He was. I mean, he still did a good job with the whole.
Yeah.
He's had a very interesting storyline with
I guess for those of you who haven't seen it, our third wheel is this once again a bodybuilder who has started using steroids and is now having erectile dysfunction, and so he goes to get
so he can pay for his operation. He joins
the gang to pay for his operation to, I don't know, undysfunctionalize his penis.
So it seems like he has to inject his...
He has to inject some sort of drug right into his dick, and it's unpleasant.
He was definitely one of the most interesting parts of the film, I thought. He was...
Really that interesting?
I don't know. I thought for the gang, he was one of the most straight shooters of the whole group. Like, you've got Dwayne, like, even though Dwayne was like this hardcore Christian.
When you're stacked up against a hardcore Christian ex-convict with a drug and alcohol problem, and Marky Mark playing
probably the most selfish asshole you can probably...
Marky Mark playing Marky Mark. I don't know.
No, he's done a good...
playing the role that, like... this is going to be the role that I think of now when I think of Mark Walberg. Was his backstory that he was already kind of a con man?
He was conning seniors.
Because they just touched on it at the start.
That's the thing, is they just briefly touched everyone's backstory, but yeah, he's always been a bodybuilder. They showed that clip of this kid that was friggin' ripped as all hell, which was...
He was kind of scary.
It was. I wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alley. But
a 5-year-old gonna fuck you up.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was the thing, is like their backstory wasn't really a major part of the thing. It was just, they're all bodybuilders. They find this one douchebag, this one millionaire that owns a sub sandwich shop. It's like, or a chain or whatever, I don't know. And I'm not even sure how he got the millions anyways. I mean, he didn't... They didn't really touch on...
They did. He's kind of a... I'm not sure why Marky Mark's character thought that he was such this dickhole, though he was a dickhole. Right. But more so that he thought that he was ruining the American dream. Because from what I gathered from his backstory, he pretty much followed the American dream. Mm-hmm. Start in another country, move to the U.S., start up your own business, go through college. He put himself through college and built up this, I don't know, some sort of business empire that's not really expanded upon so much. And
he just has it, but again, I guess that's...
Yeah, long story short, he has this... he has a lot of money, and they don't think he deserves it. Or more, Mr. Walberg doesn't think he deserves it. And so they attempt...
Well,
attempt to kidnap him.
How many tries did it take them? I think it was like...
It was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think it was 3. The first one, he was having a dinner party.
Yeah.
The second one...
Yeah, the second one, they drove up to the wrong... car. They were trying to drive in front of his car. Technically, he was walking toward it. They nearly hit him when they're backing up. He just walks past them.
He walks right past. They open up the back doors to their van, and he just slips in behind and
they miss him. Then it was like they're definitely showing that these guys are not the brightest bulbs in the.
they're meatheads.
Yeah,
It's showing that they're meatheads.
Yeah,
that they're just trying to take whatever the easiest route is.
Mm-hmm. I guess the idea is that if you put in, or their whole line of thinking is if you work hard enough, you'll get.
If I deserved it, what? Marky Mark has this one line that he repeats a few times.
Mm-hmm.
If I deserve it, the universe will serve it.
Well, right, yeah.
Anyways, they kidnap this rich, half Jewish, half Colombian.
Yeah.
Torture him for weeks.
Yeah,
about a month, I think.
Yeah, every time they want him to sign a piece of paper, they torture him until he breaks and finally signs the piece of paper.
And during this a fairly long sequence, while they have him tied up in the back of this dildo warehouse.
Yeah. Which definitely sparks a few interests in The Rock.
Yeah. They build this really nice relationship between this rich. At this point, I can't remember any of the characters' names.
Oh, it's. Are you talking about Victor and Paul Doyle? I think the character The Rock played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doyle and Victor, who is. Yeah. Doyle and Victor end up making this.
Oh, I guess they build a relationship over religion.
Over religion and Alcoholics Anonymous.
Mm-hmm. Like these sort of
things. They end up building up like this kind of.
Well, that's the thing is like Doyle's character. He believes that there's a relationship, but I'm pretty sure Victor was just going along with it, just trying to be friends with him he was trying to escape, right? Because that's the thing is like Victor, he didn't seem very genuine when he was trying to make friends with the guy.
I don't think he could be genuine.
And he's that's
no matter
the thing,
what.
Like, this was I think it was a very one-sided friendship.
I think he gave it. There was something there. There was something in there.
I suppose.
Between Eldad
and Pepe.
Pepe. They nicknamed each other Pepe and Eldad, which is Jewish for God's beloved. Long story short, he eventually signs away his millions, and they now have to tie up some loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
And
they bring it to the bank, but they won't put it through because he needs the notary.
The notary, which ropes in the owner of the gym.
The owner of the gym, yeah.
Which I guess we should mention that the way these three guys know each other is because they all work at the same gym.
Yeah.
Which is essentially it. So they rope in the owner of the gym, who is a notary for some reason, just happens to be.
He promised to bring him a really big sponsor, I guess, and
no, he promised to. He essentially signed everything of the guys away to Marky Mark, and Marky Mark would use this to essentially use his empire as the sponsor. This stolen empire.
Then he gets he gets roped into the whole thing, but his part is pretty small.
He's a small character. He only comes in
whenever he's necessary, basically.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the other big thing is that a lot of the stuff that really happens in it is kind of based on a true story, a true caper.
Until the movie started, I actually didn't know that it was based on anything.
No, it was definitely. I definitely appreciated they bringing it back in when Dwayne's cooking the hands. Outside, and it's like, this is still a true story.
It pops up on the screen. Hey, by the way, guys, this is still a true story.
And that I kudos to the director for today.
Just to remind you, people are actually like this.
Yeah.
You want your hands cooked up?
Yeah, he's
one day
cooking it out in the oven. You got someone across the street like...
Hey, I wouldn't want to be stuck cooking. That's like a briquette barbecue. I haven't seen one of those being used in a long time, but everybody uses propane here for their barbecues.
Well, I mean...
Or natural gas.
Well, it was also set during 1994, 1995.
True.
So that's when you would really see them.
True. Anyways, I wouldn't want to be using a briquette barbecue to cook some hands inside of a dildo warehouse. You know how much all that vinyl and rubber would start to smell?
If there's really one major complaint I could really say is that this story, or this movie, really does feel like it goes on way too long, I think.
I was getting pretty tired by the end.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour-long movie, and it definitely, I think, it kind of overstays its welcome. That's the only thing I would really put against it.
I would say it's long. I wouldn't say it's super long. I mean, it did start to drag on a little bit, but I wouldn't go on to say that it's, oh, this is such a long movie, it could have ended forever ago. It wasn't bad.
I think they could have shaved off at least 15, 20 minutes. There were definitely a few things that just, I felt like it didn't really need to be there. For example, like the whole neighborhood watch scene, I felt that was that one felt kind of pointless to me. It was more just, it didn't even really go anywhere. They're talking about, look out for bad guys, here's all these pamphlets, and Dwayne's going behind the thing to snort some coke, and it's just, it doesn't really lead anywhere after that. It's more just, I guess, just showing his relationship with the neighborhood.
And at the same time, showing Doyle's growing dependency on cocaine, which they show numerous other times as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's, again,
yes, you are right.
But
what would you say is your favorite scene?
Favorite scene? Actually, just mentioning before, definitely the point where it reminds us this is a true story while The Rock is cooking up hands in the barbecue. It's, I know I already brought it up, but it's like that actually had me laughing when it came up.
Yeah, that was a highlight for me as well. I'm trying to think of what else. Not too many scenes really stuck out for me.
No.
And I don't know. I do feel like this was not a movie that was well directed to me.
Mm. Well, no, it's
I am not the target audience for this movie.
No, definitely not.
I wonder if they made a Canadian version of this. If they remade this as being in Canada instead of Miami.
But that sort of the thing is, we'd have to figure out what
it would have to be
about Canada.
Instead of bodybuilders, it would have to be lumberjacks. Instead of taking place in Miami, it would have to take place in, I would say, either Vancouver or Halifax.
What's the Canadian dream, though? It's like
to eat lots of pancakes and maple syrup.
I don't know if that.
I don't know where
really,
I'm going with this.
No, I don't think it would really.
here's one scene that I just remembered is when they're preparing to kidnap this guy.
Oh, Victor, yeah.
Yeah, when they're preparing to kidnap Victor, they go into this military and police hardware store.
Oh, right.
For guns and body armor and all your usual
that's all
gadgets.
All for police use only, and the guy ends up selling the stuff because he's a fellow fan of Christian.
Doyle convinces him that they are ex-police officers now working as the security contractors for a Christian rock group that is having a reunion tour in Jerusalem. That's all under wraps.
That was a pretty fun scene.
That was the nerdiest guy I would ever expect to be in a gun store.
Mm-hmm. And he was definitely into getting tased at the end of that scene as well.
I personally really liked the ending.
Oh, well, I guess
if there was something I could walk away with in this movie saying, this was done amazingly well, I would say the ending. It was bad guys getting what they deserved.
Yeah.
It's based on a true story, so I can't give him too much credit.
True.
Based on a true story. But it was a very satisfying ending that worked well.
Mm-hmm.
It was relatively simple.
Mm-hmm. Everyone seemed to get their... I mean, the only one that really got the shaft was Victor. I mean, like, sure, he was an asshole, but he didn't really do anything to deserve the torture and he loses all of his money. He probably didn't get any of that money back.
Well, a third of it was spent straight up on coke.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other third was
spent on the house and the wedding and all that.
Yeah,
and so you had one guy left who took the took the expensive mansion and the boat and all that.
Yeah, but he actually spent his money reasonably. That was the thing, is like when they needed to do another job, he was the
one saying, "Hey guys, I'm good.
Yeah,
you're the guys
blew
all your money in."
And so that was the thing, is like if he could have gotten away from the other two guys, that was the other thing that I guess again is like, because it's based on a true story, you can't really fault the story, but it's more, I just have to comment on the stupidity of the guy for actually staying in Miami after this is after he found out Victor was still alive. It's not like that couldn't come back to bite him in the ass. So it's like, why would you stay? Why would you?
Yeah, even after the cops came and gave him, he gives the testimony to the cops, and the cops say, "Oh, you're just a loony,
like
cokehead." They
made him. I mean, the story he told was like these bodybuilding ninjas.
He was
kidnapped and tortured him with dildos. It's like, when you tell the full details,
when you say it like that, it sounds pretty dumb, eh?
Yeah, he went too far into the details. It's like, you should have just... I mean, how hard would it have been to have told...
He knew who one of the guys was.
Yeah.
He knew who Marky Mark was. He's his personal trainer. And he couldn't go, this guy, and two guys he knew...
kidnaps me and tortured me for...
have these descriptions, kidnapped me and tortured me for the past few weeks.
And it would have been... You didn't have to mention the dildos and the ninjas. The whole thing would have been solved if the Victor himself wasn't such a moron. but everyone was an idiot. So.
And such a jerk.
Yeah.
What else? Cinematography was, there was shaky cam in there. It wasn't too distracting. There were a few scenes here and there that weren't the best, but other than that, overall it was decent.
Yeah. No, actually, I've got to give kudos for Bay minimalizing the shaky cam thing that normally
runs
rampant in the current day movies right now. It's just he had it in the opening. I don't think he used it all that much after that, but other than that one urge, I guess he had, he got it out of his system, and then he was good for the rest of the film. So that's good.
What do you think of Ed Harris?
Oh, right. Yeah, Ed Harris is the detective. I always like to see Ed Harris regardless of what movie he's in.
Yeah, I enjoy a lot of his performances, and he brought his usual game to it.
Mm-hmm.
Brought us a pretty, not quite stock, kind of detective character.
He was the only smart guy in the film.
He was the only smart guy in the film, and the one thing he hates more than golf is fishing.
Yeah, no, that was...
Or was it the other way around?
No, it was a good line. The thing was, like, he retired from police to start his own agency, and then he retired from that to relax with golf and fishing. The problem is, the only thing he hates more than golf is fishing. So, it was pretty much... He was raring to get on a new case. He really wanted it badly. But, I guess that also sort of feeds into the whole thing, is, like, people really do want to just keep doing things. Like, retirement is just not on anyone's schedule.
It's on mine.
You say that now.
Any other major characters?
Only other one was, I mean, again, not a major character, but the stripper that...
Right,
that they tricked into the whole CIA field operative business.
She was just so dumb.
I don't know if that part of the story was true. That one seems just a little far-fetched. But again, we haven't done our research on the actual story. So it's one of those things that's like, I don't want to totally write off just because when I do check it on Wikipedia and I find out that everything they did show was actually true, it's like, it'll kind of make the whole thing that much more interesting, is that these people really were that stupid.
Here's a scene that popped into my mind only because that is not the experience I've ever had, is when they go to Home Hardware to return that electric chainsaw.
Yeah, the Chinese garbage, I guess. Is that what they called it?
Yeah, Chinese garbage or something like that.
Yeah, and
you go to Home Hardware here, you can return anything. Doesn't even have to. It can say Rona on the box, and they'll take it back. It could be Rona brand parts. You can bring them back to Home Hardware. They'll give you money. That was, I don't know. That's the only thing that really popped out into my mind.
I mean, they did replace it anyways. Like,
yeah, they replaced it anyways.
They had a quick argument about if it was fur.
Sir,
like,
I don't know if you're dumb or blind, but that's fur.
But yeah, they have a quick argument about the fur thing, and then she's like, "Okay, go grab another one." And it's not like they even needed it.
Who buys an electric chainsaw for chopping up corpses?
Well, I think more to the point, they were kind of buying a bunch of stuff that would be be used for dealing with corpses.
They were very suspect during the entire thing.
It's like, if you got a couple guys coming into your store with a giant drum barrels.
Okay, we need lye. We need
and
detergent.
lime,
We need
a chainsaw and all these cleaners. It's like, I think you should really question why.
Yeah, you wonder why you wonder why they find so many people making meth in the Walmart bathroom. It's because they bring all the things you need to make meth to the front, and they're just going, yeah, sure.
There's no problem. After watching this, there's not really... I've already forgotten most of the movie.
I am surprised that Brad Jones decided to put this on his top 10. I don't see what he found in it.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nice movie, like, especially for a Michael Bay film. It definitely surprised me, but...
It wasn't bad.
There was nothing really...
There was nothing special really in it.
There's really nothing special or memorable to me about it. That's a pretty good ending.
Yeah. I really got a hankering for hands.
You got a hunger only hands can satisfy.